I always hated Halloween. I never thought about the dressing up part. Like that's actually pretty cool now. But I always was like, ugh, we're so ghetto. We're just like knocking on random doors for candy.
Asking for candy from
Like
Did
people.
they tell
like
us not to knock at strangers'
For
doors and now
candy.
we're doing this?
Ladies and germs, welcome back to Six LLusion with your hosts, LLusion and Six. Today we have a phenomenal, incredible, one of a time guest. We have the one and only Leo González, or at Leo Gonzal, whatever you go by the most. But yeah, thank you so much for being here, man. We're super excited to talk to you today.
Thank you. I'm really happy to be here.
How's your day going so far?
Miserable. Imagine I just started
Bad, all
having
sad.
the worst day on record yet.
This is like a therapy session. You're
Therapy.
like, let's talk about our
I've
problems.
been thinking about quitting TikTok and just calling
Yeah,
it a
just
day.
like really going through it, really rethinking this whole social media game. Anyways, what's up with
Really don't like doing interviews, you know.
Got this really great construction job coming next week. So I think
Yeah. My buddy said he can get me in at the temp agency.
Oh man, let's get into that real quick. We're already talking about like blue collared work and like the typical 9 to 5s and stuff. One of my first like questions I've been dying to ask you, right? Like my wife over here, she's first generation coming from a Hispanic home. Both her parents born in Mexico, right? And it's funny, like her dad has been a plumber for like 2 decades now or so, and her mom, she has her own business, CEO, boss woman kind of thing, right? And so she felt comfortable enough, and I don't mean to speak for you, but she felt very comfortable growing up, being able to explore her creative side, her artistic side, all that type of stuff, and you kind of got a mixed balance of support, but maybe not as much as like I did, where my dad was a creative like his whole life, so he was able to support me and motivate me through that. So we kind of just wanted to know, like, how was it with your family, or support when it came to pursuing creative and entertainment industry and whatnot.
Yeah, well, I think like really from a young place, I wanted to do creative stuff. I know that neither of my parents were on board for it because I'm the only child,
Oh wow.
and it's like, and it's not as big of a, because I have other friends who are, it's like parents don't have legal status.
Yeah.
So for them, it's like, please don't waste your time.
Yeah.
Like we need you to
Wow.
do this.
Provide
For
and
me,
everything.
at least, like both of my parents are legal status, and so I didn't have that, but it was still like, please don't do that. Like
Wow.
it's really just like, I know my mom from like I think I was like 5 or 6, and my mom was like, pediatrician,
Wow.
pediatrician.
Work at the hospital.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and for my dad, I think he was always like cop, so you
Yeah.
can get
Wow.
me out of trouble.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what was your
And,
breaking point? Like, has your parents seen now that how well you do, and you're like, okay, this
Yeah.
can be something, or they're still very.
I think my dad more so is like very, very like cool. Like I don't get it, but that's cool. But I mean, my
Yeah.
dad has he lives in Mexico again.
Oh, okay.
He has a wife and kids over there. So for him, it's really just like, that's cool. That's cool that you're doing something that you like. And with my mom, she's kind of barely coming around to like, because even like 2 months ago, she's like, well, even like over the weekend, she's like, because I bought her a bed, and she's like, "Are you good still? Like, are you? I don't want to take all your money. Like,
Oh.
Oh wow.
are you like?" She's barely coming around. Like 2 months ago, was like, "Okay, so you're good without like a job?" I was like, "No, I have a job. Like
This is a job.
it's just a little different,
A little
Yeah.
different.
So
Yeah.
she's barely coming around, but I think she gets it more now because I think like, she goes to dialysis every other day, and
Wow.
the nurses there like show my videos and stuff, so she kind of gets it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's wild to, already talking about that. Again, we were just talking before camera that, her entire family, my entire family, they found out that we're having you on. They were freaking out, right? And out of all the people that we've met through this journey of social media, TikTok, music industry, whatever the case is, you are probably the most like family friendly, or just the age range of your audience is incredible, man. I think that is like the coolest thing, where someone 13 and someone 63 can enjoy your videos or feel relatable to some of it or something. I think that's very difficult to do, and you accomplish that kind of in a quickly amount of time, because again, I mean, TikTok was really your launch, right? And you started at the start of quarantine or something, right?
Yeah.
And
I mean, I really like that. I think, who is it? My friend Manny, he was here yesterday, here over at lunch, and he was like, yeah, I've been meaning to tell you, like, my grandma in Mexico is a big fan. Yeah. And I was like, how?
Yeah.
I don't even do, like, I do Spanglish, but I don't do like Spanish specific, like all the whole thing.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, like, she like loves your videos. I guess she was like, so you with Leo the other day? I was like, how does she know my name? That's so cool.
That's
but
insane.
I try to do, ever since I started doing content, I wanted to make sure that even if the kids didn't get it, that at least parents would feel like they didn't have to like wait for an F-bomb or something like, and be like, oh, even if the kids don't get the humor, I want them to be able to be in the same room. That's number one. But I also wanted to do like experiences of like, because I think like there's 16-year-olds that work at KFC.
Yeah.
And there's also 63-year-olds that work at KFC in the same shift. And I think that's so special. Sorry to interrupt you, but I've seen you do a bunch of Costco videos, and I worked at Costco for almost 3 years before social media and all that stuff. And I started working there fresh out of high school. I was 18. Yet my coworker I worked with at 5 a.m, he was 60. He was 60 something, right? So not only can customers but employees can relate to that.
Or you just did a retail one too, and I worked at retail, and I was out of high school, and then my manager was. You did everything perfect. Yeah, I was sitting there. I'm like, this is what I sound like when I was a cashier.
Yeah. It is.
It was. Am I walking, talking, like pressing the button? This is what I sound like. Yeah,
and when you did that video with Drew, the comment section, right? You guys were talking about how you have video fillers, like. If you need content, but you're like, that's not that funny or whatever, right? I think that mentality is so universal, because what you thought wasn't that funny was a huge hit. And man, that Marshall's video of you being a security guard, it's so real. It is so just fucking. All right, man, let me know. Like, and you're just.
That's doing all right. Okay, let me know.
That's it. And so, like, have you always been doing that, like going to store or whatever, and you like not watch people, like creepy, but
do you like watching people?
Yeah,
like,
you just
people
fucking
watcher.
Stare at people. Like, what is that for you? Like, how you're able to pick on people's mannerisms so easily?
I think, it is people watching, and it is creepy.
Yeah.
Let's call it. No, it's I've always been really interested. I think as a kid, I like remember being so like infatuated by not my teacher, but the whole teacher's lounge.
Yes.
And like walking by and being like, what are y'all really talking about in there?
If someone's microwaving soup, like it's always, you could smell the food they're making.
Yeah. So I was always really into like, I want to see what y'all are really like when you're not playing the part that we're all expecting you to play.
Yeah.
And yeah, like, so when I go to Costco, I think I've always looked at people taking their job so seriously, because I'm like, that's so weird. And it's different, I guess, in a small town, because y'all are in OC, right?
Yeah.
OC, yeah. But like born and raised, she's moved all over the place. She lived in New York.
I was raised in Santa Ana, so that's where more of my family was raised there. So my mom liked to move us everywhere, but majority we were raised in Santa Ana.
And I've stayed in the same 15-mile radius, basically like my whole life. And were you you born and raised California by any chance? Where?
In Hanford, close to Fresno.
Got it. Yeah. Oh, okay. Because you give me a lot of the. Again, I know you're like reenacting people's mannerism, but I think that was the thing I instantly felt with. My first video I saw was the McDonald's employee going to another McDonald's. This is
oh my gosh,
yeah, dude, that one is
that was the beginning.
That was the beginning. September 2020, you posted that, right? And what's so great, I instantly, as soon as I was like, this guy reminds me of like people I went to high school with or school, like just, or all my friends I used, you know what I'm saying? It was crazy, right? So my instant thought was like, oh, he's from California or whatever, you know?
It's funny because you say that, but it's like I was in Houston last month, and someone was like, "You're from Houston, right?"
Whoa!
Because and they mentioned that a Walmart video, which is very similar to the McDonald's video, and the Walmart video is basically like I said something like, "Oh, you guys put that up like that too?" Yeah, I look at the other Walmart. We did the same.
I did see that one, yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, you must be from Houston." And I go to Chicago, and they're like, "Oh, are you from Chicago? You must be, because you sound like that." And so it's interesting how universal it is.
Yeah.
That we all, the "Where's my hug at" guy is everywhere.
Everywhere. And it doesn't matter, social status. There's always, like, people always meme Drake is probably the "Where's my hug" guy or something. All those Drake memes or something, you know? No, but you're right. And it's so funny because, like, again, I haven't worked at Costco in years, but we'll go into Costco, the one that I didn't go to work at. And I'm like, oh, man, they're still putting these up? Oh, like I catch myself doing
now you're the guy.
I'm the guy, you know? It's crazy.
Yeah, you owe that. No, I felt like that at the first time I felt that was when I used to work at the movies, at the movie theater, and someone showed up who used to work with my then manager. Okay. They started together, and now this guy's my manager, and his friend shows up. He's like, "Whoa, went up 50 cents, huh? Wow." And it's like, we get it. You work here. Like, okay, like, you're so cool. But it's so interesting because you go to another Burger King or another KFC or something, and I've heard that that McDonald's video was literally from me watching someone do that when they were like, you guys have that here. It's just so interesting because it's like, it's just so funny.
Yeah, it's like the dad jokes, or it's the like common sense. You're like, yes, I'm only 16 here.
Yeah,
can we get this? Like,
yeah, or like when
we get it. You have a better corporate job now.
Yeah, or like when you ordered the double or the McDouble, and you go, let me get mac sauce. Like, only employees know that cheat code. You know what I'm saying? Like,
exactly.
It was shit like that.
No, because I gave my actual order in that video.
Dude, and honestly, it was that video that I was like, oh, I need to go try that. But I'm not a big fan of like mac sauce, though, to be honest. But that's another story.
He doesn't really like sauce.
Even at that time, again, COVID was still like pretty scary in September 2020, and like when and when you go up to him and you go, hey, you think coronavirus is real? He's like, no, like, just even all of that, man, was just so perfect at that time.
It was so interesting because I had made a joke at that time. Oh my gosh, that light's just
don't stress, you're good.
There's no light here. It was so interesting because that video I had made when we didn't know anything about the pandemic. Like, we were very early on in learning, and I remember I made a joke as that character, like how he would be, and people were like, that's not funny or whatever, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm sorry, I don't know anything either. I was like, relax.
We all don't know anything.
We all don't know anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was such a weird time because I was, I don't know, but that also made so much content.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the Vanessa Hudgens thing all over. Like, people are going to die. Yeah. Don't worry.
Come on. Get over it.
Yeah, no, because that one I was like, all right, Vanessa.
Yeah.
But then I was like, was she lying? Like,
they're really going to cancel Coachella? Really?
Yeah. And again, I think it came at such a good time when you did videos around that, like that character, right? It'd be like, hey, coronavirus fake or whatever. Because again, like, you know, it's not like you have been this ginormous public figure for 5 years and like you're making jokes about COVID. You're just at that time kind of just like everyone else kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? And
it was real. A lot of people didn't believe, especially like Hispanics and like
you
know, in that kind of environment. You know, I had a lot of people in my family. They were like, my mom, like, love my mom, but she still hasn't gotten the vaccine. And just because I feel like Mexicans are like the way they are sometimes like that. They're very stubborn. And
again, obviously, you know, so much time has passed on it. Low key, every time I hear people talk about COVID on the news or whatever, I'm like, I feel like those white people used to make fun. I'm like, damn, we still talking about this? But no, it's not even like that. Like, it's no judgment at all to anyone who doesn't, you know, do the vaccine or whatever. It's okay. Yeah, exactly. But again, I'm kind of milking the shit out of this one video that we're talking about. But anyways, it's a great video. I loved it. That's how we found you. And yeah, it's great. So, I mean, I've heard a lot of, you know, your interviews and your backstory and stuff like that. And it kind of, the thing with making it, quote unquote, making it, whether on social media or whatever, you know, it can take 2 days, it can take, you know, 2 years, 20 years, whatever. When, like, was there ever a time before doing TikTok that you just felt like your time was supposed to happen already? Or like how long were you really working towards doing all of this to when it finally cracked?
I mean, I started making videos in 2010. I think around 2010, I have a lot of YouTube videos. I always really liked the format of like a talk show. Mm-hmm. So I have videos in my room as like a senior where I was like asking questions like I remember like when that Charlie Sheen stuff was happening, where he was like the hashtag winning. Yeah. I remember like I was in high school and I was like, what are your thoughts on Charlie Sheen? And then I was at school with like a little fake microphone asking like classmates.
That's what people do now, dude. You were doing this in 2010?
I walked so they could run.
Amen.
But I was doing that. I was asking like, you know what's so interesting is actually in high school, I think senior year, I did a video because there was a lot of like politics obviously at that time too. And I was like, you know, we always hear that like maybe Obama's not the best president. If you could choose a celebrity to be a president, who would you choose? And someone was like, jokingly, Donald Trump. And I was like, oh, interesting.
And this is years before that idea was even birthed, right?
Yeah.
No, because I'm convinced that Donald watched my video.
Dude, he probably did.
And, it's like, this kid has an idea. We're going to do this.
Yeah. So, wait, what year did you graduate high school? We were 26. Oh, okay. Got you. You're my brother's age. Got you. My brother is a big fan of you, by the way, too. So shout out to him. Damn, dude, that's amazing to go back. That
I remember when Obama was elected.
Yeah, and like again, we were when he got elected the second time. We were in 8th grade. Yeah. And this is like before you really have like a true mind of politics or what's going on or whatever. And I don't pay much attention to it at all. But man, crazy. Can you imagine that election now? In social media time, like with that'd be hilarious.
I don't know what that kid's thinking now. He's like, I was in that video when the guy asked me.
I did it.
I predicted Donald Trump's presidency of.
Have you seen those videos of well, rest in peace, Mac Miller, but when he was still here, and he would every time he would perform his song Donald Trump, because it was like was still one of his biggest songs ever, he'd be like, he'd have to make like a whole pause and a whole conversation for a minute, be like, I just had to say fuck Donald Trump, okay? Now with that, and then he like plays the song, and he's like, you know, praising Donald Trump or the song. It's hilarious, but oh man, that's crazy though. How you used to do that, like go to your high school at that time. There's all those like viral videos on YouTube of people bringing their huge ass cameras, like in the 80s, and going around asking, you know, talking to their classmates, and they're probably like, why the hell do you have this camera? Like, you know what I'm saying? It was so foreign back then, so. That's a trip.
The fact that you were able to do that in 2010 and upload it on YouTube and have that mentality of like, hey, this is what I kind of want to do and like, because it's 2010. I feel like a lot of people are like, what is this? What year did YouTube come out?
2005.
Okay.
But still, I
YouTube
mean,
was still brand new.
Yeah, people didn't talk about YouTube the way they did now, obviously.
Yeah.
But man, so you started in 2010, really like making content and stuff. But in high school, you always hear people like, "Oh, I was the class clown" or whatever. Was it safe to say like you were a class clown throughout your school life?
I was class clown in 6th grade through 8th grade. That was my prime. Like it never. After 8th grade, the rest of my life has been downhill. 8th grade, I was like, I had a residency on the playground. It was so good.
12:35 p.m. every day.
Yeah, catch me at 12:37
at the handball courts.
It was so good. When I got to 9th grade, though, I lost all of my friends. They all went to they went to Hanford West High School. I went to Hanford High.
Oh wow!
So all my friends, because I lived like right like near the line.
Yeah.
And so I had to start again, and I never recovered.
Yeah.
All of my high school life, I never got a group of friends again.
Oh my God! Are you? Wow.
So literally, when I would do those videos, those people that be in my videos, they were classmates, but they weren't like my friends. They were literally like random people that I was like, "Can I ask you a question for my YouTube?" I was by myself the whole time.
Dude, that's insane. Well, look at you now, man. That's crazy.
By myself still.
But those classmates are like, "Oh, he interviewed me before anything." But what's so funny is like, oh fuck, I lost my train of thought.
I think you're talking about moving.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. So super random. But did you ever watch Brady Bunch ever?
He's like, I don't know what the fuck that is.
He goes, what the fuck is Brady Bunch?
She's like white people shit. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
That's the one where they were like in their boxes, right?
What?
No.
It's like the family that comes together.
No, they were in their boxes in the opening sequence, right?
Oh, my bad. Yeah. I think
they're in their boxes.
No. They're in boxes. Like,
oh, okay.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, they're looking at each other. Yeah.
Okay. Well, there was this episode where the oldest girl, Marsha, she like she's a legend in middle school, and then her first day of freshman year in high school, she's like a dud, and like it's like this whole thing or whatever. But that just reminded me of that. But that's crazy. And going back on like the line, it's so funny because me and her, we met in high school when we were 16, and I was only able to go to her high school because I transferred like halfway through my high school life, and the only way I was able to get in, I had to use like my friend's address because she lived like right on the cusp, and and I just saw her for like the first time in like 5 years, and I was like, if it wasn't for you, I would have never met my wife. So thank you so much. Thank you for letting me use your address. Yeah, it's wild. Oh wow. Oh, speaking of which, we all three share something in common. Our wedding date is your birthday, October 13th, right?
Whoa,
yeah.
Sick.
Yeah. Are you an October fan? But like do you like Halloween? Do you like October?
I've never been into Halloween. I love the time though, because I wish I knew it. I wish I knew if I would love the time if it wasn't my birthday time.
Oh,
but like, you know what I mean? I love the weather transition.
Yeah.
Like I love that like orange, like,
yeah. Well,
but you're Halloween fans?
Oh, I mean, can you show him your tattoo real quick? She's just got some like gnarly tattoo. She's got like some bat wings and a skull on her neck. She's kind of wild.
I have like Jason and Scream.
She's got Jason and Scream. I don't know if you can see.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, she's wild. So big Halloween fan over here. I hated Halloween growing up. I hated like other than the candy just because like I was a little chunky guy. And fucking I hated all that. I hated scary movies or whatever. Still kind of do a little bit. Yeah. But she got me into all that shit. I'm a big fan. But so that was like, we have a lot of reasons why we picked October to get married. But that's one of the reasons. But 13th, man. Yeah. Woo. Nice. Happy birthday.
I always hated Halloween. I never thought about the dressing up part. Like that's actually pretty cool now. But I always was like, ugh. We're so ghetto. We're just like knocking on random doors for candy.
Asking for candy.
Like,
did they tell us not to knock at strangers' doors and now we're doing this?
That's such a good point. You're right. You were taught.
I was always like, wow, so we're just going to ignore ourselves 364 days a year. And then one day, because society tells us we're
Yep.
Do you have any candy? I know a week ago you were telling me you had candy in your van, but now I'm at your door asking for it.
When you become, I don't know, when you become a geezer or something, right? And like you're like 60s or something, and people are knocking on your door on Halloween, and you get a bunch of like high school kids and they're not dressed up. Are you gonna be the type of person to be like, no, you're not dressed up, you don't get any candy, or are you just gonna say like, fuck it, here's some candy?
No, I'm actually so excited to be able to do that one day. To give candy. Like I wanna give the king size.
Yeah. Okay,
I want
cool.
people to come and be like, that's where they got the big Snickers at.
That's what we did. We got a house.
Don't tell the story. It's sad, but
we're in an apartment now. But during COVID, we got a little small house in we're a little area where we live that's very. It
was a dream house that me and her talked about since like high school, and we got it. We
were renting it, and then COVID hit, and Halloween is my favorite holiday. So I actually made a huge like haunted mansion like front house decor thing, and it was COVID, and I was just like, this is the 1 year that I get to be in this area of Orange that is very popular, and people do contests of like who's the most prettiest house or whatever, and it had to be during COVID. I'm like, and I gave full chocolate bars. I had smoke machines. I had like a projector. Like,
I don't know how well you can see this, but like that. Wait,
wow!
You feel me? And like
I still cry to this day.
This is just like a picture of a dark picture, but I mean, we went crazy.
I packed like juices and like full size candy bars.
We had a whole hand sanitizer area for kids because like, dude, again, this was around that time. We didn't know about how scary COVID was. It was just a wild time.
This was like after like.
This is October 2020, so I mean, yeah, it's wild.
I'm still like being like, wow, why me? Why did it happen during COVID?
Yeah, but. It's wild. But anyways, I don't want to waste too much time. I do have a lot of like cool questions I want to ask you. So I'm just going to go at the gate, right? The obvious one. Okay. I want to talk about George Lopez. Okay. Right. So something that I find so incredible, right? Like the way I've heard you talk about, George Lopez, and I know you met him before, like when you were like a little kid, right? But I think it's so like to me, someone kind of like George Lopez to you is kind of like Tony Hawk, right? Like skateboarding is a big part of me growing up, and I owe a lot of my music interests due to all the video games I played and like all the music that was in those games and stuff. So I have a skateboard signed by him that she got me for my birthday. I've had posters signed by him, but to talk to him on a like level of because of something that I did successfully in my career, and I'm able to like have a conversation with him, that's something I have not accomplished yet, and like that's like a dream. So it's one thing for you to meet George Lopez as a kid and like you take a picture with him, but for you to meet him because of the success that you have gained and you get to talk on his podcast, like that is truly incredible. Like if you can talk about that experience, man, I mean, I think it's so motivational to a lot of people, I feel like.
No, I when I left his podcast, I was like in my car and I was like, I thought to myself, like, there's no bigger honor than getting to tell someone what they've done for your life to their face. Mm-hmm. Like, I got to tell him to his face on the show, and I just kept thinking, like, who does that? Like, who gets to do that? Like,
yeah.
Because, I mean, I think a lot of us have heroes, and a lot of us have, like, people who just, like, made us feel like, oh, my gosh, like, you make life seem so fun when it doesn't seem fun where I'm from. And so when I finally got his attention, I remember the first time I got his attention from TikTok, it was, like, I was at a Friendsgiving thing in 2020, I think. And and I remember he posted a video on his TikTok impersonating him.
That's crazy.
And I remember just thinking, like, who does that? Why? Like, that's crazy. Like, you're you. And so I don't know, just getting to meet him, it made me feel like, wow, like that was worth all of that, because that's more than I could have ever asked for. I I just wanted to meet, but for you to like invite me on the show and to do skits with me, to do the very because it's like I thought like like it is just a skit, but I'm like, but beyond that is like we those skits were not just TikToks. It made me feel like we actually did a scene together. You know?
Yeah.
Like,
no, absolutely.
I got to act with
George,
you.
yeah.
That's so
definitely
cool.
Yeah.
And we had like really good conversation before the show.
Oh, that's great.
Really good conversation in the parking lot. I got some of the parking lot convo on YouTube.
I've seen, I've watched some of that,
and like that was really big for me. But it was just like, I think the biggest thing was like, wow, like the George Lopez that's on all of those specials that I watched, the HBO specials and the Netflix. I watched him twice in concert,
and how iconic the sitcom is itself. I mean, what it did for
the sitcom was crazy. It was, I not over the fact that like he was the brown guy.
Like no one was doing that. Yeah.
Right. Like, and a successful show, because like there's other shows that have been even produced since then that I'm like, oh, you're doing too much.
Yeah.
Wow. Gotcha.
But like that show was just like, it was like Reba, according to Jim, everybody loves Reba.
Oh yeah.
So it's like we got like different races covered, and then the Lopez with the Z. It's like that's cool. Lopez with the Z.
Yeah.
That feels familiar, and like and I love that he made fun of his own childhood trauma while showing that he's now married to a wonderful woman, has wonderful, beautiful kids, a beautiful home, and had a job as a manager.
It's a regular job. Yeah, exactly.
So like it was a very realistic show.
Definitely.
But it wasn't like this like, big story of like conquering, but he did like, it was, when you look at it, it's like he conquered that childhood trauma and is now like succeeding in life. And I think that does more than we talk about. I think
and Vic in the show, who plays Angie's dad, right? Like he's this extremely rich doctor, and there's constantly this narrative of George is actually not that well off, and he's poor compared to a lot of people or whatever. And George in the show is constantly fighting for like, no, I am rich. I got a great family. I got 3 cars. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like, because the show, like if you really think about it as a kid and growing up being Mexican and being told that you weren't gonna ever make it, or you're gonna work at this kind of job forever. If you really look at the show, it's like they never really made fun of Mexicans. They actually uplift them and be like, hey, there's some, nicks and like, whatever, but like stereotypical of Mexicans. But like the show was actually to show awareness that he was able to do it. He was able to get a house, He goes,
we're Mexicans, not Mexicans. That's my favorite one.
So it's like the show just shows that he was able to do it, and it's like still uplifting us. It's still uplifting that community of like, this is what we can accomplish no matter what.
And
also like I told him in the interview, I was like, you made it funny to be broken.
Wow.
Like, you made it because at that time it's like the show was very, very similar to his real life. His dad having been gone, his mom was the same. Well, he was raised by his grandma in real life, but she was that type of person. And he didn't have very much family. He's an only child. I'm like, I'm an only child. My dad's gone. My mom's messy, just like that. She's doing her own thing. I'm very scared of everything. You made it funny for me. You made my life funny to me when it wasn't funny, and that's crazy. That's more. I hate when people are like, oh, I love, like when they think about George Lopez, they think like 3 a.m. like hearing it. I'm like, okay, no, we need to talk about how actually the message was actually really good.
Yeah, I've noticed that's like the main meme, like like you hear it at 3 a.m, but it's like, you're right, and there's so much deeper to that.
It's so annoying too, because it's like, no, yes, the show was later sold to Nick and
would show
and showed at that time, but it was on primetime on ABC.
Yeah. And what's so great about, I don't mean to keep milking this, but something I do want to talk about is like, you know, I grew up kind of we just found out, so my great grandfather was born in Mexico, and that's my only connection like of Hispanic, but I'm very like super whitewashed, right? And I didn't really grow up in the typical Hispanic household until when I would watch the show as a kid, I thought it was just hilarious, and I didn't really like relate to a lot of it. But I just thought it was a great show till I met her and her family, and like
you see
the
everything.
The show became like 20 times funnier because I can see so much of relatability when I came into your family and how well they accepted me, and I feel like Jason or something. Jason. He goes, "We're gonna start shopping for white people. We're gonna get sunscreen, man." Right? Yeah, exactly. But anyways, I don't mean to keep killing this conversation, but the reason why I bring it up in the first place is you just did a great job of, you could have easily boxed yourself into like this thing like, this guy Leo, oh yeah, he's the guy, he like impersonates George Lopez or something. Like you could have easily boxed yourself in that, but you very quickly go, hey, like I can do this real quick, and then I'm out. I'm doing all this other stuff, and now you're known for just doing so much more, man.
Funny.
Yeah, and that's so hard to,
especially on TikTok.
Yeah, that's so hard to break out of. Like there's this guy, he's fucking hilarious, but his main thing is to impersonate Drake, and he does a really good Drake impression. And or
the Willy Wonka guy. Ooh.
Oh my god!
Who dressed like Willy Wonka, and that's all his.
Exactly, right?
Thing.
It's like, how are you supposed to have brand deals and do all this stuff when you box yourself into that? So you nailed it, man. And I think your what's that word? I guess strive to do so much more is like, it's super inspiring to a lot of creators. You know, I think it's awesome.
I wanted my feed to be like something that like if Lorne Michaels were to get on TikTok, or like Amy Poehler or any other like EP.
Definitely.
Like, I wanted them to like look and be like, oh, Leo can do this character and that character. I wanted it to be like a real, like an interactive reel, like, okay, can Leo do this? And just like, find it there.
Yeah, definitely.
That's why I try not to waste any TikTok real estate on like a vlog. I don't want to waste any TikTok real estate on like me giving you a thought. I don't want you to think about my thought. It's not about me or what I believe or feel. Like I just want to see if you like any of these characters.
Yeah, and that's why we're so excited to also just have a good conversation with you, man. Because you know, you can be funny on the internet, you can do all this stuff, but you know,
we're still a real person.
Yeah, we want to humanize you as well, you know. And speaking of that, I feel like one of the most vulnerable settings as, you know, a comedian, I feel like, when, especially in this day and age where a lot of comedians can be, you know, big on sketches and all this type of stuff, you know, that the stand-up world is still very prominent, and it's still just like, you know, how do you feel? Do you ever want to do stand-up? Do you ever see yourself doing that? Like, how do you feel with all that?
Yeah, I want to do stand-up for sure.
That's awesome.
Thing about stand-up though, and that's the message I get more than anything on in my DMs is like, when are you touring? Like, when are you coming to like Kansas? When are you gonna be in Chicago? And I'm like, I just wait. Like, I just
you gotta
I want to make sure that people will show up. Like, I know you'll go. Like, I hope that you go, but like, hopefully, like a few other people go too, so that it pays the gas.
Yeah. Do you ever think about going to just like local open mics or something, just to in front of maybe people that don't know who you are, and just to kind of like get your feet wet with certain stuff? Like, because that seems nerve-wracking as shit. Like, I can't imagine stand up, man. And especially again with sketches, you're not doing a whole lot of like editing to make it funny. Like, there's YouTubers that they are funny because of the edits they do, right? And then they get on stage and it's like crickets, you know, because it's like, where are your edits, you know? Sketches, you're going with real time, you know, where I feel like if you're on stage and you did like the pacing and the pauses and your face reactions, like it does like very similar, you know, but you got to keep that up constantly. But it just seems crazy.
A lot. And I mean, I have, you know, when I do skits these days, I have really bad memory, so I don't even, like, I gotta repeat it a lot or write it down. And so that's one of the struggles too with trying to do stand up, is that my memory, like, I'm trying to have like little bridge keywords to transition. So we're working on it, and awesome. Also the thing about my stand up is like, I'm also really scared because like, I think that on TikToks, like I don't swear at all.
Wow.
On social media, I don't swear. I say like damn, I think in videos sometimes, but I don't say anything else. But my stand-up is so raunchy, like it like has a lot of swearing.
Oh, that's great. That's
so,
great.
Like, I feel so bad because I feel like I have a lot of people that have followed me over the years because they're like, oh yes, family-friendly fun.
Dude, they bring their 7-year-old kids. I don't want them
to be like, all right, let's go watch Leo tonight at the improv. And I just go out there and I'm like, so, you know.
Well, I think what's funny about that too is like I remember when Old Town Road by Lil Nas X came out, and that song was so globally ginormous, where a lot of like kids were able to listen to it. And then he comes out with more music that fits his brand that he wants to do, and parents were furious. They were like, this is inappropriate for kids, blah blah. And he's just like, fuck you, dude, I'm making my own shit. You know what I'm saying? It was just but you know, I think that's totally fair, especially, you know, I think everyone knows that. Like if you're gonna go to a club, a stand-up thing or improv or something, like it's gonna get raunchy. And I would love to.
It's like if they sell drinks that are over 21, then you're gonna get a little bit of censor, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I mean I mean, like I already want to see like a special from you. But I hear like I think when in the stand-up world, like you need like 8 or 10 years of doing stand-up in order to do like a special, or like you need a lot of experience to acquire.
Imagine he's like, no, I have one ready.
He goes, I got one ready. I mean, talking to Netflix tomorrow. Yeah. No. But yeah, no, I mean, I would love to see you do that. That'd be great. That's awesome.
We would go.
Yeah.
Count us in.
It's so exciting. I mean, I think about like back on the playground, like making people laugh. Like that was the most, that gives so much like this feeling of freedom. And so I want to for sure get out there and do it because I think it's so different than making a video on the green screen by myself.
Yeah, seriously. So, you know,
because you get that reaction, you get that kind of satisfaction of like laughter. And you're like, this is what, this is what I'm expecting.
Yeah, because I think everyone, especially back in the day, everything was reversed. You start by doing stand up in front of people and you rely on people's reactions. I watch a lot of like comedian podcasts and stuff, and a lot of people of them talk like it's hard for them to film social media content and be funny because they're like they don't hear an audience laugh or something, and they feel like they're not being funny or something.
No,
so
I totally noticed that because I've been watching some comedians that are so good on stage, and they do a skit, and I'm like, oh baby, let's go back on stage.
yeah.
It's crazy because I'm like. Because I believe, like, I know them. Like, I've been watching them for 10 years. I know they're so funny, but they try to give even like an opinion video or like a little joke in video form, and I'm like, oh, it's just it's not the same. So
right, or they're like
because what you're doing is also acting at the same time, and that's also talent as well when you're making all these characters, and I believe that's acting. Like when you're doing half comedian, half acting, and some of these comedians can't act sometimes. I've seen comedians show up in like let's just say a Seth Rogen movie, and you're just like, you can tell if they're a little bit off. You can tell their acting's a little bit kind of not good.
Yeah, definitely. That's another thing too. Everyone becomes actors. Like if you do music, I'm gonna go into acting. Like you mentioned, you have got a bad memory. I can't imagine remembering lines. I cannot manage that. Like that just seems impossible.
I don't know how people do it. I don't know how like The Rock does it. The Rock comes out with 3 movies at a time.
Dude. And they're huge blockbuster films, and it's just, this dude was a WWE wrestler or whatever. Like, it's crazy. It's wild.
That's so true. He is in a lot of movies.
Oh, yeah. It's insane. So, you know, you work a ton. Like, you pump out so much content on this stuff, but, like, what do you do when camera's off? Like, what are certain hobbies that you like to do or anything away from making people laugh, doing comedy, all that stuff? Like, what's something that no one would be like, oh, really? He's into that? I don't know. I'm curious.
Honestly, I feel like such a pick-me. I feel like I'm such a pick-me. I'm like, I don't know. It's just like, I'm really shy.
I just like making people laugh. That's it. I go to sleep.
No, I mean, it sucks. Like, I wish I had like a better answer, but like, videos was always my hobby. It just like it really always was. When I was doing any other job, videos was for fun. And so now that it is my job, it's like, I don't really have a lot of things to do outside.
Yeah.
Like one thing that I've been like doing a lot since I moved into this place like 5 months ago or so, is I've been really into like trying to design it really like well. I've been really trying to like make it so homey and like I recently discovered World Market.
Dude, World Market is
because if you ever want to go, if you ever need someone to go with you, I work only for World Market.
Can we please shop at World Market today and we'll just film like a content video with that? That'd be great. I would love
we could go to World Market and do a haul. Dude, I'm down. I'm so obsessed with them.
Yeah.
I've been really into like ramen. So like I'm always like hitting on my friends like, can someone go with me to go to ramen?
Yeah. And dude, World Market will burn a hole. I don't care how much money you have. World Market will burn a hole through your wallet, right? But
no, and I don't care. Like they're like, spend 100, get 5 cents back, and I'm like, worth it.
You're like, this little piece in the wall. You're like, no, that's yarn.
Yeah.
No. It's $150 and I need it. You're like, no, it's yarn. You can go to Michael's and do it yourself.
Yeah.
No, because I went there for a skillet, and I came back with like these rose petals that are, it's like soap. Mm-hmm. So it's like a whole rose, and each petal you just wash hands with it. And I set it in my. I was like, and then I took a bathroom. I took a shower the other day in the bathroom, and it was like just rose petals. I bought a bunch of candles, set up like some Edison lights. Like it's.
But forgot your skillet. You got everything but the skillet.
I think I got the skillet later.
Yeah.
I've been going there, but I've been reading a lot too. I never used to read, but I went like I've been going to bookstores and getting a bunch of new books and learning a lot, because I think like I'm trying to learn a lot from people who have done this before, not TikTok necessarily or social media, but who have been trying to navigate like creative people.
Yeah,
like
definitely.
Alan Cumming has this book here, Baggage.
Ooh.
Which so good. Then I have like Will Smith's book and Mariah Carey's book, and it's so interesting.
Speaking of Will Smith, what is that like when you have a man like that following you on Instagram? That is, you can just do anything. You can walk in any store and be like, this is free. Will Smith follows me. Like, that's insane.
Yeah, I'm like, you're saying my order's not ready? Okay, I don't think, it's just Will's going to be really upset.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Did you see what he did in the Oscars? Please don't make him upset.
Yeah, but that must have been crazy.
No, it's awesome. Will, he's been so nice to me. And
you guys have talked before and everything?
Yeah.
Wow, that's great, man.
Yeah, before when I still lived in across town in LA, he posted me on his Instagram. He posted like a carousel of me and followed me on Instagram and TikTok and DM me, and his team reached out to me and we talked when I was in New York for a little bit. And he's very, very nice. And it's like when that happened, I was like, man, maybe I'm fine. Like maybe I can do this, because I think when he reached out, it was a time that I was like, "Ooh, I'm so broke. I don't know if I should keep logistically, like financially. I don't know if I should keep doing this." And then he reached out to me, and it like changed everything. It changed.
That's crazy, man. Because I feel like in this world, going back to how we even started this whole episode, when we're talking about parents and people are saying like, you're like, I do have a job, which is different. And what's so scary about the entertainment industry, even the music industry with us, it's like, the risk that you take is you can make a ton of, it's not just about the money, but you can make a really great living in this world, but every month is going to be different, or nothing's promised, or 1 month you can get 5 brand deals and then go 2 months without any or something, and I think that will constantly light a fire in someone's butt, like in this industry, to keep making sure that you're making more content and all that type of stuff. So I assume that that's a thought process that you have to go through like constantly when because like, to be completely fair, it's like we have other social media friends as well, but we're technically more in the music world, obviously, more than just like entertainment kind of thing. And that whole world scares me more. You're relying on brand deals and stuff like that, where, streams on Spotify, those come every month kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? So I have so much respect for people like you and a lot of our social media friends that can balance that, because I wouldn't be able to sleep every night. No one.
Yeah, because you have to think about it, like during YouTube and all this, like people came out being like, no, this is a very tiring job to always put content out and content to think about it over and over again and to be successful about it. That's just like I wouldn't even, like, I do art and I draw, so it's like I can't even imagine to be forced to sit there and be like, I gotta do this every day. It's just like that's just to me.
There's that Kim Kardashian sound going on TikTok. It's a full-time job. People don't know how much work it takes. But yeah.
Yeah, no, it's very you learn how to manage it, because I think one of the things is like once you're doing it and your friends, I'm sure, have talked about it, like you have to now just always be on.
Yeah.
You have to now always be essentially in character, whether or not you're feeling so great, because some days I'm just like tired, and then someone comes up to me and they're like, hey, what's good, and like in that same character that they watched, and I can't take that away from them, because that's who they watched. And
wow. Do people ever come up to you and be like, dude, do the Marshalls guy, and you're like, all right, you know
when people say do this, I'm like, oh my god, it's like, no,
no.
Like, do the roar. No.
I knew
no. I'm not going to do it. We can laugh. We can have a good conversation, but I'm not going to just, like, do a monologue.
Yeah.
I'm going to go home and actually do a monologue about you now. Thank you very much.
Oh, but you just gave me content. Yeah.
Thank you.
I actually did a TikTok recently where I was like, hey, you're on TikTok, huh? You're famous, low-key?
I think I
just uploaded that like 3-4 weeks ago, and that's because of someone that came up like, is there money in that? You make money? Damn, I've been wanting to be a TikToker. Like,
and how easy it is. I'll try doing it.
Yeah, that was the weirdest thing when people started coming up to us. It was like, they don't know your name. They go, you're from TikTok, aren't you? And like, that's it. And they expect you to be like, yeah. And then they're like, and then that's it. Like, we were at this thrift store one time, and this girl came up to us and was like, you guys from TikTok? And we're like, yeah. And they were like, okay. And then just walked away. They're like, okay. Good. It was a good interaction. And it's awkward. You go, do you want a picture? Where are we going here? What is this going on?
It's like, okay, thank you.
Yeah, it's funny.
I love when they actually know my name, because a lot of people just know the video.
Yeah.
And so they're always like, oh, from TikTok. Hey, TikTok guy.
TikTok guy, yeah.
you're that guy,
yeah. Well,
so
you
okay.
You kind of played it smart,
like, I love, like, and there's nothing that's so, like, nicer these days than when someone's like, oh, Leo González. I'm like, oh my gosh, you know my whole name.
That's dope.
So nice. Like,
that is really dope.
Now that I don't expect it, because I know that there's some people I'm such big fans of on TikTok, and I don't know their name.
Dude,
but I wouldn't go up to them.
And I wouldn't tell them that you're the TikTok guy.
Like, I hate to say this because I'm kind of contradicting of like how I would want someone to react to my content if I was on their For You page, but I look forward to a lot of people's content, and I don't even like follow them just because they pop up so much on my For You page all the time or something like that. Like, that's just how TikTok.
Oh, you're the worst.
I'm the worst.
Yeah, worst kind of consumer.
But that's the thing, and like, you're right.
Like that 40-year-old dad that just goes around and be like, that's funny, and just like not notice that you can follow
or like things. But you nailed it with having your name, and people can give you that respect rather than be like, I don't know, like,
well, my whole family knew your name. As soon as we said your name, they're like, no way.
Yeah. I think we said like Leo, and they're like, González, like they knew, so that's huge.
Their last name is Gomez, so I think they're very like, González?
Yeah, exactly. That's a trip, man. But wait, there was one more I wanted to something that I thought was just incredible, because I know, you doing not news anchoring, but being in that world for a while. That was kind of like your goal for a while, to get into that world. You doing the red carpet recently during the Batman premiere, that is just so crazy, because I feel like if someone even asked you 2 years ago, like, hey, like, do you ever see yourself doing this one day, if it leads to that, I feel like it wouldn't even be in your mindset of thinking you could get to that point. If you can speak on that'd be great.
It was imagine, I'm like, I have nothing to say.
It was cool. It was cool.
It was all right.
Next question. Come on.
No, it was crazy because up until maybe 10, 15 minutes before we went live, I don't think I had really checked into what was going on. And then I started talking to one of the producers, and I said, like, is it all right if I go to that crowd right there? Like, if there's nothing going on with the celebrity, with the actors coming in, like, if there's downtime, like, can I just go over there and kind of Al Roker this? And
we were talking about Al Roker on our last podcast. Yeah. Shout out Al Roker.
Shout out to Al Roker. He's great.
Legend.
And they said you can go talk to the crowd over there. Don't talk to them because they haven't been vetted from COVID. That's the One Iota crowd. And One Iota, I don't know if you are familiar, it's a company that does all the audience organizing for TV shows.
Oh, wow.
For a lot of shows. There's like on-camera audiences too, but One Iota does like Kimmel, Fallon, they did Conan, The Talk, The View, they do Drew Barrymore and Clarkson and everybody. And so they're the ones that organize like audience. And I have been an audience member of Conan, Kimmel, James Corden, Chelsea Lately back then. The Talk, The Real.
Damn.
I've been like at a lot of TV shows in the audience. Like I've always just like loved being in a room where people are like rushing, like the production's just like like really like exciting, like
definitely.
And like I'm like one of One Iota's like most loyal in attendance. Like my attendance is perfect.
Oh wow.
And so when they said that was the One Iota crowd, I was like, oh my gosh, like that would have been me. Like that's me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Those are all like that. I did that for years. Like I was a seat filler for the MTV award shows, for the Teen Choice Awards. Like I was a seat filler.
Oh, whoa.
Like I've been doing that, and like I'm hosting this.
You're seeing a reflection.
Yeah, exactly.
The actors are they're like contractually obligated to stop with me.
Yeah.
Because we are with the actual like company.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't just another like press, media. This is like the one that they have to stop at.
Exactly.
And so I was like, I checked into that, and I was like, oh my gosh, like that's so weird. Like when did this happen? And I like called my friend, and I was like, I'm hosting this red carpet thing, and like they're like, I know, we're watching. And I'm like, no, but do you get it? Like, how did you get it? Like I was One Iota before. Like, and the One Iota's behind me right now.
Yeah.
Like, do you understand what I'm doing? And then, I stepped away. I stepped away from the two girls that were hosting with me. I stepped away, and my line was at the opening line for the show, and I like walked away completely until the producer was like on the 10-second mark, and I was just like pacing back and forth, like, oh my gosh, this is so crazy. And then as he got to 3, I like walked up 2, 1, and I was like, hello everyone, and welcome to the world. And I was like, oh, it was so surreal. I was like, I just like had to check in because it was so weird. It was
It's like in the movies when you find out the person's the killer, you're like, all these things are coming back to you. You're like, wait.
Yeah, exactly. No, there's what movie is that from? Who says that? It goes, life comes down to a few moments. This is one of them. Does that sound familiar? Oh, that's killing me. It's gonna kill me all day. But there's like that famous quote or whatever, and that George Lopez, all that, and we've experienced a ton of those once in a life moments that you get to capture. No one takes that away from you. You get to live with that forever, man. And it's incredible, man. And it's a ginormous reflection of everything that you've been doing, and even though this is our first time meeting, and I think just seeing your content for so many years, it feels like we've known you for a while, and we're like proud of you, man. We're stoked for you of all this incredible stuff that's happening in your life, and it's only gonna keep going, man. I'm like so beyond stoked to see the future of it, for real. It's so exciting. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, and this is really nice, and and let's keep going.
What?
Whenever I'm an OC, like
yeah, absolutely.
Packing house or something. And
what do you know about the packing house?
What do you know about the packing house?
Wait, you've been at George's, the barbecue place, Georgina's?
I haven't had that. What I had the Mexican restaurant downstairs, and then upstairs in the corner the Indian food.
Okay, got you.
It's
They got a dope ramen.
good.
They got a good ramen spot there too.
Yeah.
I saw the ramen, but my friends didn't want to get it with me, and I don't want to be that guy. Oh, are you talking about the one that's like in the
on
air?
the stick? Yeah.
I wanted that so bad.
I've been wanting that so bad, and I'm 8 months pregnant, so I've been thinking about it so much.
We're gonna go right now.
I'm going to get ramen in like an hour here in Studio City.
No, after this, we're gonna go to World Market,
dude.
and
World
then we're gonna go get.
No, because beyond this podcast, I'm so serious. If you go to World Market, let me know.
Dude, I got you, man.
I will clear my trunk.
Yeah. No, for real. Anytime you come down to OC, want to collab in some way, we'll be here, man.
You're invited to all my family's parties. We just had a baby shower. Like
dude, that'd be dope. Yeah.
We had a taco guy too.
Yeah. Yeah. Big time. Or if you ever need anything music related, we got you. I mean, anything that you need in the future, man. But yeah, man, don't want to take too much of your time, man. If it was up to us, we'd be talking for hours, man. But that time will come. We really appreciate you, man. Is there anything you want to say to the people? Anything you need to promote right now? Talk your talk. This is the time to do it.
No, nothing at all.
Just keep watching my
videos. You got the construction, new construction job next week, So
yeah, if my homie pulls through, the temp agency will be secured.
Incredible, man. Well, yeah.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely, man. Thank you so much, man. We hope you have a great rest of your day, man, and you're welcome back anytime, man.
Thank you. I'll be back.
Awesome, man. Peace and love, man. You have a good one.